flight real estate agent.
who quoted one property did not sell for what they thought it should bring, tries to blow the whole thing out of the water. It makes the front page of the Dixon paper as if she is quoting these hundreds of facts and figures regarding literally hundreds of property sales down in that windmill area that Wendy put together, and yet she quotes one property, and that's taken as gospel. And it's, I don't understand that philosophy.
Well, she should have been brought in front of the ad hoc committee. That this Beth Ainsley should have been brought there.
Even live in Lee County.
She did. She's our assessor.
She sells
she's
them.
the one doing the assessor. She reviewed anywhere from 40 to, I believe, 70 sales per year for 6 or 7 years. I don't recall the exact detail. Don't quote me on this. But we can get the information again. And for all practical purposes, those sales went up until we got those, the value of those homes went up on average until our real estate recession hit in 2008, I believe it was.
Here, an informed, concerned citizen attempts to explain further deficiencies with the study provided by the county assessor. From this part of the discussion, serious questions are raised on whether the people on the Properties Committee take the job seriously. I believe you can understand how frustrating it is for citizens to hear this going on in our county government.
Yeah, and there, you know what, there's a bunch of information about that you don't know. And I can give it to you, and I'll take 2 minutes to give it to you. All right? 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
This, all right. And I'm not bashing Wendy, I'm not criticizing her at all, because she was very clear to say during that meeting that she did a quick and dirty analysis. She pulled sales, and she looked at median sales prices, okay, right? I mean, she said it was, you know, this is just a quick and dirty analysis. I did it in less than an hour. There is another study out there that uses the same sales that Wendy used. It's from the same, virtually the same time period, from 1998 to 2007. And this is.
Are you talking about the Mendota Hills project?
It includes the Mendota Hills project, yes.
I want you to compare apples to apples.
Yeah, it includes the Mendota Hills project, and it includes like 20 wind farms in 9 different states. And Mendota Hills and GSG are also included in this study. The data in this study is the same data that Wendy used. It's the same time period, the same sales, okay? And this study, I should point out, I guess there isn't anybody from this committee, but Chris, you have the manual, not the one I gave you, but the one given to you by the guy from the wind company.
Neil Palmer.
Neil Palmer. In that, he includes this Berkeley study, which is a larger version of Wendy's study. And it assesses all these properties. And guess what? It comes to the same conclusion, that there's no significant effect on property values. But there's a fundamental problem with this study. And I can give you the numbers in more detail, but this is basically it. For example, in Mendota Hills, in the Lee County studies, there was 412 sales. 91% of those sales did not have a view of the wind turbines. 91% did not have a view of the wind turbines.
You mean from the property itself?
From the property itself, did not have a view of the wind turbines. Now, Wendy didn't know that. She said she didn't do a specific analysis of these properties. And this is included in this study. And Chris, you can check it in your book. This is on page 96 to 98 of that Berkeley study that's in that binder. And this is the same. They did the same thing. The other thing is that 80%,
What did they say about the
99% of the sales were greater than a mile from the turbine. So we're not talking about our setback issue. We're talking about being a mile from the turbine. That's what this sales data says. It doesn't. So therefore, what does it tell you? It doesn't tell you anything about what's going to happen with property values. And I checked the numbers. Buena Vista County, Iowa, same thing. Door County, Wisconsin. 91% of the turbines had no view of the 91% of the
That's not
homes
Lee
that
County.
don't use the turbines.
See, you keep bringing this up even in the board meeting. You're supposed to
I never
talk
brought
Lee
that up.
County. I don't care about DeKalb County or Ogle County.
I was talking about Lee County.
To start with, now you're up into Door County.
That's just to show you that it's not just an anomaly for Lee County. It's happening all over the place.
But on the average, 91% of the people, the sales went up, right? Even though they had, I mean, they may not add a view, but at least in the area of the wind farm, only 9%, did they actually go down?
He doesn't
They
have
don't
the
say.
sales data. It's not included in the study.
Right.
He also doesn't say, there was two sales within a mile. He doesn't say what those sold for. But what I'm saying is you have all this data. It's bad data. And now you're drawing the conclusion from it. It's terrible data. It's meaningless data. And now the whole county thinks that, well, no problem. It's just not true.
Well, what makes that data good if they can't tell you what the cost went up or down for that 9%? They don't even talk about it. Does that mean they gave them away? Does that mean they were sold for $1 instead of $1 million? What is the reason for the 9%? What's the cost of the 9%? Did it go up or down? If they don't give you that information, then what in the world are you talking about it for?
Because
It has no bearing.
it does, right, it has no bearing, but
Then why are
that's
you
what,
bringing it up?
because that is what you're using as your conclusion to say that there's no effect on property values.
Hold on. Wendy's did not say she was a half a mile from it, 30 feet from it. She could see it, she couldn't see it. She says, a quick and dirty response, here's what we did, they didn't go down. That's it.
And if you've got a property that has no view of the turbines, what would you expect to happen?
She didn't bring that in there. This person did out of Berkeley, and they said 9%, but they won't tell you what happened to that 9%. Did that 9% go up, or did it go down? If you can't get an answer for it, it's a meaningless survey. Totally meaningless.
It
So
is a
don't-
meaningless survey.
Well, then why are you bringing it up and comparing it to Wendy's? Wendy's didn't bring that in there. She said, we sold...
I'm not going to argue with you. You're not making any sense. I'm not going to
Well,
argue
you're like
with
that guy over there. Everybody's against him, everybody's against you. You're both against each other.
you. If you guys want to sit here and not look at the facts, that's,
By the
I'm
way,
not going
just
to
one
sit
last
here
thing,
and
just so you
Thank
know,
you.
they just discovered that eggs are now healthy for you. After 10 years
Yeah.
telling me they're no
Yeah,
good.
let's go on.
Let's go out, please.
So, what should be done? Simple. The county board needs to vote down the recommendations and send the ordinance back to the zoning committee and include the planning committee as well. The board also needs to demand to hear the proposed text amendment that was submitted over a year ago but has yet to be reviewed. Finally, the board needs to enact a moratorium on further wind development in the county until such a time that modifications can be made to the ordinance, approved by zoning and planning, and sent back to the board for approval. The citizens of Lee County deserve this. It is time to do the right thing. Thank you for listening.